and welcome to the Average Feminist podcast. This is episode 2. I just want to say quickly before we go into it, thank you so much for all of the love and support for episode 1. It was so much better than I expected, so thank you very much. While we're here, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do if you're listening on YouTube. We are now on Apple Podcasts, so please go and leave me a preferably 5-star review if you like the podcast. And go and follow the Instagram. It is at the Average Fempod, because Instagram names have to be quite short. So today, episode 2 of this podcast about feminism, we're talking about the lads, the men, because it's not just about women. We have to have men in the movement too. So I've got my lovely, lovely friend Stanley with me.
Right, yep. Hello.
And I'm going to throw this to you to start because I don't know what I'm talking about as much as you do when it comes to the men side.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you say that, but then, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to sound preachy on this because I know that I'm not by any stretch one of the best people to talk about it. I know I make mistakes surrounding everything, you know, from feminism to any other issues. I know that I'm not necessarily... I try to be as sensitive on every topic as I possibly can be, but I think the most important thing really that men could do is just to be responsive and to listen to whatever the stories are that women have surrounding any of the topics that you're going to cover in this podcast. So, because you can't have a movement like this without the support of both men and female, because male and female, men and female.
Female.
So, you can't do it without both because it has to bring everyone with it, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much my view on it. I just believe you've got to make it as inclusive as possible. But I don't mean that in a way that women have to somehow cater to men to do it. It just has to be, men have to be responsive to it. They have to try and educate themselves on these topics as much as women are already educated on these topics. It's
not a woman's job to educate.
Exactly. It's really not. It's just about educating yourself. And I know I have to do that because, you know, I said last week to one of my mates that I was going to be coming on this. And she went, she looked at me and went, "You're not as, good with this stuff as you think you are. So I just think you're going to make a mistake." And I went, "Yeah, no, I will definitely make a mistake." But, you know, I think it's fine as long as you're responsive and willing to change anything that you think about any of these topics.
Yeah. And, you know, this podcast is not for experts.
Well, obviously.
Thank you so much. As your host, thank you. No, but obviously I said in the first episode and everything, you know, I'm a 19-year-old girl. You're a 19-year-old boy. We're still learning. We're still moving through life. I'm always make mistakes. I'm gonna make a million more. But what I'm gonna do is learn from them, because if I try and dodge a subject or whatever just to not make a mistake, then nothing ever happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, just to add your point as well, I mean, I know this is what you were saying. I shouldn't say it so. Obviously, the point of feminism isn't to, it isn't just for women. No. It's just to bring women up to the same equality as men.
But the problem is, I think a lot of men, for ridiculous reasons, view feminism as this unknown quantity that they have to be afraid of. And I just think that's one of the most unhealthy viewpoints that we can possibly have surrounding it. Because I think, you know, it's obviously not that. That's, again, just it's a creation of, patriarchal media, I guess. It's attempted to, thanks for the peace signs there.
You're welcome, it's vibey.
Yeah, I think the patriarchal media just attempting to suppress the voices of women. And I think that's now a view that's held in wider society with a lot of men who just think that for some reason feminism is this problematic term that they have to run screaming from, rather than just try to learn about and try to. Well, I don't see why anyone in today's society wouldn't view themselves as a feminist. That would be my main point.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, I'm obviously so intimidating. How could you not be intimidated by me?
Every moment I spend with you, I am terrified.
I'm the most scary person
absolutely
you could ever meet.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
Do you want to share my water?
Oh, yeah, I've just run out of water.
I know, I can
tell.
Very
upsetting. I mean, this is very good social distancing, but thanks.
We're in the same household.
Yeah, but still.
I was going to say something, and then you made me forget what I was going to just spill the water.
What the fuck is this bottle? I swear.
It's from Bumble. Not sponsored, but Bumble, if you want to sponsor me.
It starts.
Oh, you've got water all down your shirt.
Speaking
now.
of Bumble. Alright, let's try and get back on track.
Oh, see, I had something to say, and now you made me feel
Oh,
like
it's my fault. It's my fault.
No, it is your fault. I did this last episode with Verity as well. Oh, it was nothing that you probably hadn't already said. It was just. Oh, I think no, that's what it was going to say. I was going to say that feminism, like the word in itself, has become so politically charged.
Absolutely.
When it's not. It's just equality.
I think. That's the thing. I think the word doesn't need to be changed. Again, that's a weird thing that guys sometimes call for to distract from the actual issues. They go, "Oh, but if you just." Change the word to something like egalitarianism, which isn't the same thing, but some people go, oh, but I'm egalitarian, which is, which is like, oh, it's equality. But yeah, but why not just call yourself a feminist? If everyone started doing it, it would no longer have the same stigma around it. If everyone, and this is men, not women, because saying the majority is problematic. A lot of women already identify as feminists because I think,
from our experiences, at least.
From what I can see, there tends to be a larger proportion of women comfortable with calling themselves feminists than there are men. Because I remember I was in history in, I think it was year 10, and I had this great history teacher called Mr. McPherson. Shout out to Mr. McPherson.
We love you.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And he, some of the guys in the classroom were making some weird comments about feminism, and he just went, they went, oh, sir, are you a feminist? Will you call yourself a feminist? He went, yeah, of course I would. Why wouldn't and then it just became a class debate. But it just, if more men were comfortable with just going, why wouldn't I? Just questioning it, to actually stand up to the kind of thing of just why is it a problem to call yourself it? That would be my point.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of men.
No, you can't.
Because I don't know those.
You can, by all means, go ahead.
My theory would be, and I'm not claiming in any way that this is true, don't quote me on this, but my theory would be that it comes with the kind of, I can't think of the right way to say it necessarily, but it's a way of taking their power away in saying that they shouldn't, it kind of puts them in a backseat role in the relationships that they have, not necessarily romantic relationships, but friendships, work relationships, family. They're used to being,
dominant.
Yeah, it kind of does make them, or I'm guessing they would see it as that it would make them more submissive.
It makes them feel less.
Yes.
But I think that relates to toxic masculinity in general. I think it relates to just another difficult issue in today's society of the way men are taught to behave and mainly brought up to behave, and the things that you see on in film and in the majority of media. And it is starting to be challenged, which is good. But I think people being shown that they have to be this tough or this strong or this I think it probably all plays into the same idea that they have to be dominant. And I think to your point,
that men can't cry.
I think, well, exactly. I think to your point, that would then absolutely hinder them just being comfortable.
It's a loss of identity in a way.
Yeah.
If they've been told their whole childhood that they have to be this strong figure, they can't feel these emotions because the emotions are weakness in a way.
They can't allow this dominance to fade. They have to... they have to remain in control.
So then taking that step back would kind of be a lot of who they think they are or supposed to be, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I know I enjoy, not enjoy, but I like to be in control of situations. When we're out with a group of friends or whatever,
You're the protective one.
I go, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, we're doing this. Let's go here. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly the same thing, but again, I think that's learned behavior. I've gone, and I think it plays into just being confident as well. But then just going, oh, we're going to do this now. We're going here. We're not. Let's move. Let's
Yeah. Whereas compared to me, and this is something I'm trying to work on. Not that it would seem it since you moved back into the house, so I don't think I feel any different. But I know that I'm very much the opposite, and I'm like, no, let's just do what you want.
Yeah, so that's why, like, when we've been out in the last couple of days, I've been going, I've been trying to give you options.
I know, but I guess the difference is as well, I legitimately just don't care.
Yeah, which is like, also good.
It's like I have no preference, so if you prefer one over the other, then I would just rather do that. I'm a people pleaser,
kind of
to a fault.
Just a kind of dickish, opinionated person that I am. So then I'm just there going, "Oh, right, I want to do this." So unless you have a problem with that, but then it's a challenging thing. I think men feel the need to challenge rather than be accepting to views. So I think that probably plays in to their adverse relationship with feminism, like their adversity to the concept probably comes from a place of challenging it and wanting to challenge.
It's quite interesting.
I don't know if that's true. I'm probably just talking out my ass, but
yeah, I mean, not to bring in the worst example,
go on,
but
here we go.
Look at AOC and Trump. Here is one of the best women.
Oh, she's awesome.
I love her so
awesome.
much. She's so cool. And then really she's intelligent, she is confident, she's so cool, and then he is so threatened by her that all he can do.
Yeah, he's almost a walking,
I'm not saying
talking.
That he represents men in any way, shape, or form.
The thing is, he's a walking, talking definition of toxic masculinity.
Yes.
And just a lust for power that I think he's. I mean, I don't want to just start on a tirade about Trump, because I could talk about him for an hour and a half without breathing. But like,
we're not even American. He's not even our president.
No, I don't know how I'd feel if I was there. But she really is. She's brilliant, and she challenges him in a way that he can't combat because it's reasonable and it's rational.
Yeah, so, she's completely rational and she's justified in everything.
She's almost like a polar opposite. They really are polar opposites. That's why they clash, because she's just this. She wouldn't put up a challenge if she didn't know for a fact that she had facts and statements that she could back it up with, and experience that she could back it up with.
Trump will say, argument.
Yeah, exactly. Trump will say whatever he wants, whenever he wants, in order to further his own position and his own cause.
His own agenda.
Yeah.
That's all he cares about.
It is. But and I think she is definitely a modern day feminist icon, I'd say.
I'd say so.
But then I don't think that's for me to decide. But I think she's certainly a good example for.
I think she'll be very inspirational.
Women that maybe want to go into politics, or just women in general,
especially in America.
People in general, actually, she's she is an example of how dignified a debate can be. So that's for all genders. That's not.
I think regardless of the fact that she's a woman, the fact that she is in her speech against Representative Yoho, and she was like, I'm not going to get angry at you. I'm going to stay completely calm and rational and give you a talking to.
I think she's just the person who is a great example to everyone. I don't think it just has to be, but she's good for women. I think that again kind of puts it in a box.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah, we do that quite a lot, I think, with people in media. I think we do, like, when there's a woman who's done well in something, instead of it being commended on the fact that she's done well, and that being it, like it would be if it was a man.
Yeah.
It goes, she's done well, imagine, so great for women, and you lose the attention on what she's done and what she's achieved, because it's just she's this good thing for women. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. It's just an interesting thing.
there's a whole thing. I've been kind of reading a bit more about it lately. And Florence Given, not to mention her again, but you know, she is also one of my favorite people at the moment. And she did talk about it in her book a bit. And it's just a thing in general of like, she's always described as a female illustrator. And you know,
not just an illustrator.
Yeah, the same way that if someone wrote a book, they'd be like a female author. And it kind of others it even in your thing, like, she's not just an illustrator, she has to be specified.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think the other day if that ever goes the other way, if there ever has to be, and there is a couple, like you get a nurse or a male nurse. You don't get
True.
Which is strange because
well, it's because the original concept was obviously doctors they had to do further medical study and everything. It's more difficult, so that would be tradition.
But you know, even things like that now then doesn't need to be a gendered thing on the front of it. But
it doesn't. But I will say, even my own bias still, if I hear the term doctor, I still first and foremost think of a man.
Yeah, and I think that. And
then if I go to the doctors and I've got an appointment booked with someone, when I see that it's a woman, sometimes I will be slightly.
You've got to check yourself.
Yeah,
I think I've had to do the same thing, and I know on a couple of occasions I've said like. I think the other week with you, you had to check if I was sick. Was it a doctor or a boss or something? And it was a manager or something. And we were talking on Messenger, and I said, "Oh, this boss," and it wasn't someone that I knew. And I think I referred to them as male, just immediately,
I do remember it happening.
Without a name or anything. And you went, "You know that guy's male, right? It's not just." And I actually did in that state, in that, but. I know I've done before that kind of thing of just referring to a doctor as male. I'd be the same. Referring to a nurse as female.
Pilots, I would assume, would be a man.
Interesting. Oh, and the amount of like, I think it's added to by the jokes that people, mainly men, make about things like female pilots. Like the jokes that are made around, I don't know. You're looking at me with a look of confusion.
I do have a slight look of confusion.
So.
I don't know many pilots.
Well, no, it's not about. I don't know many pilots either. This is just a general thing of, you know, I think it's in TV shows occasionally. It's usually not the protagonist saying it. It'd be someone slightly
a bit more of a sleazy character.
They're like, oh, imagine, you know, you wouldn't want to have a female pilot when you get on a plane
like
or
the
whatever.
stigma of female drivers.
Yeah, the same thing. It's just again, it's just to keep you from doing a thing that you're entitled to learn and do.
Out of the two of us,
you can drive.
Who holds the driving license?
I am entirely useless. You're
not entirely useless. You just can't legally do it.
I can drive, just not legally.
Meanwhile, I've been driving for 2 years. So no, I'm sure they'd be fine.
I just start driving just down a road, and then they pick up on it. I'm like, oh, but you know. Was I doing anything wrong? They're like, no, but license. Oh.
Oops.
But what?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't think they'd appreciate that too much, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I see what you mean now, though. I was a bit confused what you meant.
Yeah, do you get me? Yeah,
it's just more
the jokes.
Yeah, women can't drive. Women, you know, don't trust women with heavy machinery.
It's like you want to do the book on, like... things that
men... expose me.
Oh, well, what's wrong with it? It's interesting.
Maybe it's supposed to be a secret so it's published.
Oh, wow. You know, secret till you write it and that it's...
Well, now people might know.
Oh, and they're just going to steal the idea.
No, and they're just not going to tell... They're just not going to say the things.
But everyone's going to stop just because of this podcast.
Exactly.
I tell you what, that'd be a brilliant thing. That wouldn't be a bad thing.
Let's tell everyone.
So let's just tell everyone.
I want to write a book one day to accompany the podcast. It's going to be an investigative journalist kind of piece, exposing men. The concept of like locker room chats, which I do want to do a whole episode on.
I know you did. I wasn't sure if you wanted to bring it up today.
Well, we can do a part 2 to this episode or something.
Why not?
But just, I've been told a lot. My ex used to tell me, like a couple of my friends have said that their friends have said it to them, just like, oh, the stuff that guys say when girls aren't around, like you'd be disgusted. And then I'm like, oh, no, I want to know what they say. And then they're like, no, I'm not going to tell you what they say. It's just, you wouldn't want to know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to expose some people anonymously.
Yeah,
I'm just going to expose that type of people. Because this is the thing. If they're talking about it, just not in front of women, then they clearly haven't learned, and they don't have
those
respect.
views. So that's the thing.
They haven't
They've just
changed.
moved them into it. It tends
They've
to
just
be
adapted.
about sex, I think. With like,
That's not surprising.
no, but that from my experience of it, that is what they talk about. Like, and I think me as well. Like, especially around, you know, in sports things.
You?
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. No, I don't think I do anything or say anything that's. Well, I hope I don't anyway, but maybe, I don't know. But it tends to be around bragging rather than outright just calling women pieces of shit or anything. It's just it's bragging and objectifying women is the stuff that I've seen and been around.
But I'm an object.
Yeah, you are an object. What are you on about?
I am an object.
You're not real.
I'm not sentient.
No.
Women were invented in 1974.
73.
It was 74 because it's the year that my mum's
born.
What?
I thought it was 73.
No, it's
Women were
74.
invented in 1973.
You've always said 74 in front of me because it's the year my mum's born.
Ah, yeah. Women were invented in 1974 to, you know.
And the birds were all robots.
To further the Cold War effort, you know, to distract American people. It was it was a Soviet plan to distract American men, basically. That's what happened.
Disclaimer, in case it isn't
clear,
horrifically obvious, this is a joke.
Yeah, I
am not an object. Yeah. Don't treat me like an object.
No, that would be very problematic.
As far as the historical records show, women have existed for longer than 1974.
Well, that is what it shows, but let's be honest, maybe it's all wrong.
Maybe. One huge conspiracy.
Wow, who knew I was going to be this controversial?
Everyone knew you were going to be this controversial coming on the podcast.
No, Rosie said earlier, she literally, like, on messages, she went, oh yeah, just say, you know, that women aren't real, and that'll go really well. That'll go down well with the
You said that to me about 10 times.
I went, yeah, I was like, I'm assuming they'll know I'm being sarcastic. But
we'll just add a disclaimer after every time.
Every time that I say, yeah, but there are, again, it's a weird thing where David would be far better to talk about incels and stuff, but like...
David, we love you.
Yeah, we do love you, David. But there are weird sections of men in society around the world who just have very strange views about women. It's not even anti-feminist. It's just like that they're not on the same level as men at all, and that they are like things that can just be things that can just be objectified.
Do you think that's brought on by the porn industry?
I don't know what part the porn industry plays in any of it. I know that it's not.
Well, from my understanding of incels, I don't have a depth of knowledge.
Neither do I.
The point, I think, please, if I'm wrong, and if you know, please correct me. If you're not sure and you're listening, please, you know, message the pod on Instagram or something. You can have some more water to pour down your shirt if you want.
Oh, much appreciated.
But as far as I know, incels is kind of like they have kind of limited face-to-face interaction. They just spend a lot of time inside on the internet or whatever. And obviously a lot of porn is derogatory towards women, violent.
I think the porn industry definitely plays a role in that. I thought you meant what role does the porn industry play in the wider issue of... You know.
Well, I think if it's teaching men and young... I mean, don't watch porn if you're under 18 because that's illegal, but people do.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy, it's so free access.
Yeah,
but if you're teaching them to treating them violently and treating them in that kind of derogatory sense is okay, then obviously
also
that
all women are that easy, and that all like and that women
thinking that they're entitled.
That women desire men in the way that they desire them in porn. It's bullshit, and it like I think it teaches a bad lesson. I don't know how many people take that lesson. You know, most people can see through it, I'm assuming, I hope. But like, yeah, the very fact that, you know, in porn, if there's like a girl who doesn't want to have sex with a guy, and then the guy drops his trousers, then she's like, wow, look, you have a dick. Allow me to now suck it. I want to have
sex with you now.
Just utter bullshit.
But the thing is, at least when I was growing up, I don't know if Wales was different. So you're from Wales!
No, I'm not.
And then,
I live in Wales.
You're from Wales. And I think when I was leaving school, they were starting to actually talk about porn with Obviously not like the younger kids, but I'm assuming from like 14
It's
years
good that it's
on.
actually been, it was being put in schools.
Not when I was that age. Our only sex education was these are all the forms of birth control that you can take. These are all the STIs you can get. If you get an STI, we had one short thing on like consent, and they were like, it was basically like the T video.
Yeah.
And they were just like, ask for consent. I think we did a tiny bit on maybe like manipulation and abusive relationships, but like not a lot. But they never ever spoke about, it was never about sex, actually.
Yeah.
It was about, I mean, I think the guys were with us, or they had the same ones, as far as I know. If you went to my school, let me know what your sex education was, if you're a guy. But ours was literally, as women, it was all just, this is birth control, this is how to stop yourself from getting pregnant.
Yeah.
This is all the STIs that you can catch. Go see a doctor. And it kind of is that thing.
I mean, it's good that it's even that, because I know it didn't used to be. Like, it's definitely progress.
I know that my school got more than a lot of the schools near me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got more than we did. Like, I remember having proper, like, we watched like the sex education videos in like year 6, and we watched them with just the guys, I believe, and the girls were in a different room.
Oh, in year 6,
possibly a different video.
But that was all just about puberty and going through puberty.
So we had that, and we had stuff about sex in year 6. So it's quite young to have it, but sex. I don't know. Quite young to have the sex education. Not quite young to have sex is extremely problematic if you're having sex at age 11.
It's legally right.
I'm just putting that out as a disclaimer in case you thought I was. I don't know. I'm just being careful here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have sex unless you're over the age of 16 in the UK. If you're listening internationally, abide by do what you want to do. No, if you're listening internationally, abide by the consent where you're from.
Yeah, that is the correct way to
go. That is the correct way to go about that.
I don't know how much sex education we actually had in secondary.
I don't remember ever talking about sex.
I definitely remember having some about STIs and stuff like that. I remember doing. Yeah. We had those conversations, which is again good, but
it was good.
I don't know if there was anything on porn.
There was at the very. I think I was in sixth form when they spoke about it, and it was literally they started doing it as a body image thing because they were like, "Don't expect."
That's the thing. I think it's also just it's bad for everyone. The stuff in porn, that's just especially women, like the.
Yeah, they were like
the way that they look,
but. It was kind of like the treatment of women in it, and they were like,
"No, it's ridiculous."
It just gives you unrealistic expectations of what sex is like.
Yeah.
Which then leads to brutality and also shit sex.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. It's strange. It's definitely good that we're not as repressed as a society as we were in times gone by when, porn was entirely off limit to everyone, and we were entirely sexually repressed, especially women, and the fact that
sexual liberation is great.
Yeah, women were not allowed any form of, people just didn't believe women could have sexual pleasure.
A lot of people still don't.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people still
it's
don't.
A worrying amount.
It's still not treated as if women can have sex on their own accord and enjoy it.
Yeah. What were you saying yesterday? You were saying something about this. I can't remember what it was now.
I don't know.
No, it was about women and not. I can't remember what you were talking about. Never mind. Let's skip past that.
Brainstorm. We've only got like a minute and a half left anyway, so brainstorm.
Probably can't cover that.
We'll do a part 2.
Yeah, okay,
We'll probably film it tomorrow or something. So think about it. Yeah, I'm telling you. Great. I'm taking the initiative.
You're taking control of the conversation, which is exactly what you need to do.
It's my podcast.
So it's all good. It's your podcast.
I own this podcast. I'm the legal owner.
Yep. I feel like I've made a good example of my own control thing in this podcast where I've just been speaking a lot about random stuff.
I handed it over to you because I can't, obviously you can't speak for all men, but
no, I possibly
you have
know slightly
that experience. Yeah. I can only join in the conversation. I can't.
But then I think it's literally the opposite way around for the wider issues that you're trying to look at in this podcast. I think men have to be accepting and understanding to the ideas that women are putting forward. And I think so in the same way as you've allowed me to speak here because it's about men, and then you've jumped in on it and you've actually elaborated on it. that it's literally it's just the opposite in the wider thing of what we need to do for you guys, for women in general.
What a good point to finish on, because we've got 30 seconds left.
Oh, look at that.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
So, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thanks, Sam, for coming on. I'll get you back in tomorrow to record part 2. Don't forget to follow the Instagram at the Average Fem Pod. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, formerly known as iTunes. And I won't see you next week. You can listen to me again next week. Have a nice week. Stay safe. Don't get coronavirus. Bye.